This show is sponsored by NatureBox. Order great tasting, healthy snacks right to your door. Forget the vending machine and get in shape for summer with healthy, delicious treats like everything bagel sticks. Support this podcast and get a free sampler box. Go to naturebox.com/screenplay. That's naturebox.com/screenplay.
Hey everybody, you're watching Screenplay. I'm JJ, and today I've got a lot of special guests. Before we talk about them, let's talk to Joey Aranda over in the movie store. Joey, how's it going?
It's good. How are you doing today?
Doing all right. How was your weekend?
Very long, very tired, but here today it's another screenplay, another edition. I
Nice
like it.
3-day weekend, Labor Day, all that fun stuff. Ha! Today I'm joined by Mr. Patrick Rodriguez. He is a production artist here at Rooster Teeth, as well as voice actor and many other things.
Yep.
Next to him, we have Miss Jenny Nulf. She is a movie critic. She writes for gotchamovies.com. That's gotchamovies.com. And then next to her, we have Mr. Adam Ellis. He is IT guy, as well as you probably know him from his how-to series that he does with Joel. What's the one you guys just did?
Holcomb. Let's move on.
Is that like Hadouken? Nice. I just said nice to my own joke. I gotta stop that.
Job.
All right,
Good
so
job,
here we
man.
go. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Before we start talking about what's going on in movies and TV, why don't we, Joey, why don't you tell us what our movie quote of the week is?
All right, the movie quote of the week is: "There's 3 ways to do things: the right way, the wrong way, and the way I do it." True story. The true story part wasn't part of it.
Nice. I have no idea what that is. You know, it might help, Joey, if you do the quotes in the actual voices of the people.
Yeah, let's get an impression going.
Yeah.
I gotta
There's
save my
3
talents for other places, sir.
I want to see Joey like doing Robert De Niro and like Rodney Dangerfield and all these voices.
I gotta do it. I'll do it next time.
Joey gets no respect. All right. So in movies this week, there's a lot of stuff going on. But let's talk about Michael Fassbender. So everyone knows him from, you probably know him as Magneto. If you saw Shame, you know him and his penis. He was also...
That's the sex movie, right?
Yeah, I heard...
Fantastic
It was nice.
movie.
Oh, you like Shame?
Yeah, I love Michael Fassbender.
He's great.
He's awesome.
He's great.
You know, I found out in a little bit of video game-oriented news, I found out he did a voice before he was really big and before he was Michael Fassbender. He was one of the voices in Fable 3.
But you know a voice?
Really? Yeah.
No, I don't know which voice, but I know he was in that game, apparently.
So he's a voice actor.
Yeah. And then so he's also doing another video game based on a movie. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But right now we're talking about X-Men news. So for Magneto, he actually is he pitched storylines to the writer of X-Men Days of Futures Past. He was on a plane with the guy. I think they were doing a press tour. And he was like, I'd really like to see these stories, And he wouldn't tell which stories they were, but he's got a very in-depth kind of, I don't know. He really knows where he wants the character to go. Where do you guys want to see Magneto go in the next movies?
That's a Patrick question.
What? No, I mean, I loved what he did in like First Class because it was just like Magneto killing Nazis and stuff like that. Like that was awesome.
Yeah.
Like I loved everything about that. And the second one is perfectly fine. I want more of that. I want a bit more in the past, like right before he took on like First Class and stuff like that.
Well, the next film is Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be all the younger cast, none of the older kind of X2, X3 cast. It takes place in the 80s. They're going to introduce a Nightcrawler, a young Nightcrawler, and then I think we're going to get Gambit, who may or may not be Channing Tatum, which don't get me started on that.
You have a problem with Channing Tatum?
No, I like Channing Tatum. I always expected Remy. I expected Remy Gambit to always be kind of. He's a lanky, tall guy. You know what I mean?
Which X-Men movie was it that Gambit was in?
That was Wolverine.
The Taylor Kish. We don't talk about the Wolverine standalone movies.
Yeah.
I thought
the second
there's
one was
one that
okay.
was okay. I think Origins was it. I was like, all right, whatever.
That was the one with Gambit
Origins
in it, right?
was-
Origins.
Yeah, I think it was.
And
yeah.
the awful Deadpool that we will never talk about.
The thing about the Origins movie was like he whipped out his claws and they were all CG in the mirror. It was the hardest thing to look at, man.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Why would they make CGI claws?
Well, they learned from their mistakes. They went back and I think the next Wolverine and were not CG. They look much better.
You know, going away from the Magneto storyline, the Days of Future Past DVD's been. They've been showing shots of what the box is going to look like. And in the box, it just says Hugh Jackman, X-Men Days of Futures Past. And I think that's kind of fucked up because you've got Michael Fassbender, you've got James McAvoy, Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, like Jennifer Lawrence.
Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah, Nicholas Hoult, Ellen Page. You have all these strong names, but it's just there. Hugh Jackman. And don't get me wrong, I grew up in the 90s.
Is that like an official poster, though?
No, it's the official box for the movie. And it's like, I loved Wolverine in the 90s. I'm kind of over the whole Wolverine extravaganza that is the X-Men.
Can't be just him on it.
It's just him on the box.
I have
horseshit.
I've not seen those, but that does sound absolutely crazy.
Yeah, with all those names, it's a little shitty. And you know the worst thing is, it's kind of like, you know how in Indiana Jones and Crystal Skull, people always like talk shit because if Indy had died or never even gone on the adventure at all, stayed home the whole movie, the same thing would have happened at the end.
Yeah.
He didn't even need to be there.
That was kind of like Godzilla. The humans did nothing.
Yeah. Well, the same thing at the end of X-Men Days of Future Past. I mean, Wolverine does a good amount, but at the end, he's just kind of in the water. You know, he doesn't really... Spoilers. He doesn't really do much.
Drowned.
Yeah, they didn't need to keep him like in the past with the whole Ellen Page head thing. I don't know.
He's just the segue.
He's the segue.
Yeah.
There you go.
I like my Hugh Jackman, man. I don't care what anyone says.
No, I like Hugh Jackman.
Oh, he is great. I love him when he does musicals. You know what he had done right before he did the X-Men movie? You know, he just came off of? He's doing a stage version of Oklahoma.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. I would love to see that.
Really?
Yes. With Hugh Jackman, that'd be the best thing ever.
Did he get to take his shirt off?
Probably.
Okay.
He wasn't that big back
Once
then,
again,
though.
best thing ever.
It's true. If you look at the photos of shirtless Hugh Jackman from X-Men, the first one versus X-Men Days of Future
Like he was definitely in shape.
He
but
really is Wolverine.
Yeah.
Crazy big, man. Have you seen the video of him like deadlifting? I think like 450 pounds or something
No.
like that. Nuts. That dude's insane.
No, he is good. And I was always against the idea of Wolverine being so tall because in the comics he's like 4'3" or something.
Is that true?
Yeah, he's
like-
really
he's like
short.
five
I
foot
only remember him
dead.
from Evolution, and I don't remember him being short.
No, in
Yeah,
the
he's supposed
original
to be-
comics he's super short.
In the
So much
original
so
comics, okay.
that when James Cameron was still trying to do an X-Men movie way back in the 90s, he wanted Bob Hoskins to play Wolverine. You know, the guy from
Super Mario's?
Roger Rabbit? What is it?
Super Mario's also?
Super Mario Brothers, but he's also
Brothers.
from, not Roger Rabbit, but
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Yeah.
Close enough.
Can you imagine that guy as Wolverine, just like a
Yes.
short, curly,
That'd be
hairy
awesome.
guy? That would have been great. That would have been so good.
Just be pissed off at everything. It'd be great.
I'm glad Hugh Jackman is our Wolverine, dude.
Yeah, no, I'm cool with it. No, I'm cool with him being taller. Of course, I'd love to see him in the official yellow and black outfit.
Really?
But no, it's one of those things that looks great in comics and great in cartoons.
Yeah.
In real life, it would just look weird.
Look at con pictures, man. That's what you're gonna get.
I've never
It's just like way too loud for any real life situation.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, have you seen the pictures of Spider Woman?
The new cover or
The Spider Woman concept? It's like they're trying to come out with the Spider Woman in the next couple of years.
Right.
And her outfit is like totally saran wrapped. It's like,
Have you seen the comic version of her?
is it really like
It's like just
yeah.
basically red tight. And that's it.
Also, there's some black.
Who-
Right?
who's gonna
Isn't it?
play
Very
it?
much
I don't
black
know
and
who's
yellow.
gonna play
Okay.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Well, someone did a picture on Reddit and they were like, if the Spider-Man like laws like were the same as the Spider-Woman like costume laws, and it was just Spider-Man like doing some weird kind of pose, and you just see like the saran wrap version of his junk, like because it was so tight. So yeah, they probably shouldn't follow the same gravity laws of the junk. Anyway, going back to Michael Fassbender, so I'd like to see him being the whole killing Nazis again. I thought that was really cool about First Class. That scene in the bar where like,
Yeah, that was
first of all,
intense.
the theme song they gave Magneto was like so brooding with the guitars and everything. It's such an intense theme song. And then he like when he pulls the knife out from the guy and then throws it at the other guy, it was like, is this an X-Men movie? Because this is fucking like brutal. So
I
I
thought he
like,
stabbed him in the hand. He,
stabbed
pulled
him in
it out
the
of wall,
hand.
Stabbed him in the hands. Awesome.
yeah, and that coin ending was just,
Yeah, it's like
so
one of those
good.
things where they decided to go instead of let's make a cool comic book movie to let's make a good action movie and more intense and stuff like that. And I love when they do that. Like when actually with Captain America that just came out, like it wasn't really a superhero movie to me. It was a action
Man,
movie.
they won me
And it
back
was
with that
awesome.
movie.
Yeah, no, I love that.
It's a really good movie.
That first Captain America, I was
fell asleep.
not into
I still
it,
liked it.
man.
I like that campy
I did not like the
one. It
first
was
one.
fun.
I'm with
The
you.
first one was so boring, right? And
Right.
It was
No
it-
tension
It was
at
cool
all.
looking at the outfits. It reminded me of like the Rocketeer, like that old America time where like everything was
Yeah.
leathery and stuff. But like Tommy Lee Jones looked like he was just phoning in his lines. It was like he was just like, "Yeah, I'm being Tommy Lee Jones. Give me my check." You know, he just didn't care.
It was also that thing where they got too cartoony with it, where the like the bad guy in the story that they like.
Yeah.
It was just not.
You mean the
I couldn't
musical
suspend
part
my
two that was in
disbelief. It
there?
was just not good.
Well, you know it's cool because you look at X1, the first X-Men movie, and it was the first kind of group action comic book movie for its time. So it does play kind of safe, and so many movies have come out so much darker than that. And you look at First Class, where they're doing some really intense things. It really opened up. Bryan Singer, who did Days of Futures Past, came back to come direct the X-Men movies. It really opened them up to be darker. Like, have you seen Days of Futures Past?
Yeah, I've seen both. I've seen both the new X-Men movies, and I've seen X3.
Okay. Oh, you should just see it.
Yeah.
Damn memory. But no, like X-Men Days of Futures Past had, first of all, my favorite storyline from the comics and also the old '90s cartoon was Days of Futures Past, like with Bishop and Cable and all that fun stuff. But it really was brutal. Like they cut people in half, and they cut Colossus in half.
They killed people pretty hardcore in Days of Future Past.
For PG-13, it was intense. I feel they got away with it because it was like, oh, he's an ice body.
Yeah,
right now.
like,
oh, now he's like
not real.
He's not real.
So, yeah, no.
Because if they would have killed Iceman whenever he was like flesh and blood, it would have been intense.
That would have been a thing. Yeah.
Well, it's like in Guardians when, spoiler alert, but Groot like puts his arm through like 10 or 15 people and he slams them like around the wall. That wouldn't be
It's
PG-13 if they weren't aliens.
yeah, it's true. And also he smiles at the end.
Yeah.
That smile,
Which makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so Fassbender's also producing and going to be starring in an Assassin's Creed movie, which I don't know too much about Assassin's Creed. I know a little bit about it. But so the whole idea is that he has these memories of his ancestors. That's the whole like storyline they're going with in the movie. Is that correct?
That's pretty much like
that's
the
pretty much-
overarching Assassin's Creed storyline.
So he's not going to be playing a character like well known from the game. They're making up a new character, but
Damn, I would have.
Well, who did you want to see him play? Like
Desmond?
Ezio?
I love Ezio as a character. I absolutely adore him, and I love his storyline. But I'm not sure if I would put Michael Fassbender in that role, though.
I don't know if I want to see.
I would give him for
Yeah.
not Desmond, the first one.
Altair?
Altair, yeah.
Okay.
I'd give it for him.
All right. Well,
I'm like,
sorry.
yeah, sounds
Sorry,
good.
we're talking about video games.
Damn, this isn't the past.
for the audio viewers, we just did a over my head.
Yeah.
They're just like, what happened? So let's like.
I don't think any of those stories, like the ones in the games, they're all right for a video game story, but I don't think any of them would translate to a movie. I mean, except maybe 4, because it's crazy pirate stuff. But we've already seen Pirates of the Caribbean.
Work,
So
yeah, we already have that
Well,
covered.
let's talk about video game adaptations that have actually worked as movies, because there's a lot that are awful. Uwe Boll.
no, everything by Uwe Boll is like the best.
What has he done? Like he does
gold.
Blood Rain, come on,
Blood
man.
Rain. He did.
I forgot all about that.
You know, the only Uwe Boll movie, or Uwe, or however you pronounce his name, the only movie by him that I actually like, that's actually enjoyable, is Postal. Have you seen Postal?
Wow,
No.
what a fucked up movie.
It's such a fucked up movie, but it's like if South Park was a movie. Like I think at some point Osama bin Laden
South
and George
Park was
Bush
a
run
movie.
hand in hand in a
Musical.
field together while like nuclear explosions go up.
Do you like that movie sarcastically? Because it's
Oh no,
really,
I don't take it seriously.
Okay, because it is. It's like The Room almost, and like how bad it is, but it's man.
What do you-
They definitely like took the stuff from the game really literally. Like in the game, you can go and pee on people like that are dead, and then in the movie, he peed on people.
I like your response, Jenny. Like, what? They can pee on people?
Yeah, man, that
Stage
Do you have to press X to do that?
Yeah, totally. What's the is it In the Name of the King? Is that the other one he did? What was he's done? Was it House of the Dead?
it's.
Which one did he? He did. He's
That
done
was
a,
Rob Zombie, I think.
No.
You're thinking House of 1,000 Corpses,
Which
That's
is which
what-
is a
which
good
is- yes,
movie.
it's a fantastic movie. Those two movies, Devil's Rejects. Let's go away from there.
Devil's Rejects and House of the Dead, let's just say, are both really awesome movies. And I don't know what happened to Rob Zombie since then. Ever since he started doing the Halloween movies, he kind of just fell off.
He made a new movie
'cause they're not
recently,
original.
didn't he? What did he make recently?
He made that movie called something. It was about the Scarlet Witch trials kind of thing. It was called Salem or something. The Salem Witches or something.
Oh,
Man,
I know
I-
this name. Well, yeah, I can't
yeah,
think of
you
it
I gotta
though.
say, man,
Yeah.
like those movies, House of 1,000 Corpses and
great.
Devil's Rejects, having from that other perspective,
Yeah.
is so interesting. It's so fascinating because you know these people are fucking nuts,
Yeah.
and yet you're cheering for them the whole time.
No, totally. And if you know what's cool about House of 1,000 Corpses is that the two guy characters are unknown at the time were Chris Hardwick, a really shaggy, like bearded Chris Hardwick from At Midnight, and Rainn Wilson, who you know is Dwight Schrute from The Office, but he wasn't Dwight then. He was still like kind of young and weird and nerdy, which I guess is Dwight. But it's cool to watch those movies again.
Wait, in Devil's Rejects, who's the guy with the main bad guy with the beard? Who is that?
Oh,
That wears the face mask? Is that that's not Chris Hardwick, right?
No, I'm talking about
okay.
House of Thousand Corpses.
Okay.
Dr. Satan!
Let's move on. Yeah. Okay.
All right, we're totally off the trails here. My favorite, probably video game adaptation into a movie. I was talking to Blaine about this earlier, and we were going back and forth. And I was like, Blaine said Tomb Raider, and I was like, really? And I was like, for me, it's got to be Mortal Kombat, but that's got to be a nostalgic.
Wow.
New Line, 1996.
Now it's nostalgia and like I like this movie because it's stupid.
Well, even as a young kid, I knew Street Fighter the movie was bad.
That movie's amazing.
The Legend of Chun-Li was fantastic.
Oh, don't even talk about that. Your soul is mine. I love that. She's like old Shang Tsung, man. Or I guess he's the young Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
But I like that. Before we move on, any movie, video game adaptations that you guys actually really like?
I can't think of one I really like, but Silent Hill's okay.
Oh man, you were so right on that.
Yeah.
I thought the Silent Hill movie captured the Silent Hill game perfectly, and I hate horror games.
Yeah.
But that movie was like Silent Hill to a T almost.
Well, the guy that did Silent Hill is working on a new video game, a new Silent Hill series with Guillermo del Toro.
Good job.
Guillermo,
Thank you.
Guillermo.
I looked at you to help me out.
I
Help
was
me
just
with
like,
this, Patrick.
okay, yeah. Look at the other Mexican and make sure he knows how to say it. Yes, Guillermo del Toro.
yes.
Guillermo and Hideo Kojima, who makes the Metal Gear series.
Yeah, they're going to do
Yeah.
Silent Hill, and Norman Reedus is
And
going to do
Norman
the
Reedus is
voice.
acting it. Yeah, man. I don't know if you played that demo or teaser for that game.
Yeah.
It is awesome.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it caused like 2 weeks worth of. Well, it's still causing buzz right now because it was
is.
just so intense.
It is.
Like this horror game gets into your head.
It feels
And
like
it
you're watching an
stays
indie
there.
horror movie, which is great.
What's that game you guys? Is it the scary game you guys were talking
Yep,
about?
that's the one.
Okay. I don't know. I need to give that a go. You should probably do it with the lights off.
It's just the demo,
Okay.
It'll take some time.
but that's all you need.
Okay. So, who here has seen The Room?
I have forced myself through like bits and pieces of that goddamn
You've
movie.
never seen
it's
Jenny.
so
You've never
No,
seen
I
The
have
Room.
not.
It's so hard.
But you know,
Is it on Netflix instant?
I don't think
it is.
it's. I don't think it is. No.
I think I'm thinking of 4 Rooms.
Yeah, which is on. Yeah, which two of those
Which is
movies?
actually
Two
a
out of the
good
4 of
movie.
those movies are actually pretty good. But you know about The Room,
Yes.
and you know about The Room.
Yeah, man. What a movie.
Well, it's because like when you talk about movies and then you talk about the room, it's just like what a shame.
Oh, hi, Mark.
There's a weird, that's like a weird culture where there are certain bad movies like The Room and Troll 2 that are so bad that you just get like this cult following for them, and then you make books and documentaries about them. It's nuts.
It's so weird, and it's really kind of past. I want to say Rocky Horror Picture Show for being kind of that cult
too.
midnight kind of
Yeah.
film screening. But so the guy Greg Sestero, I think is his name. He plays Mark in the movie. He wrote a tell-all book about working with Tommy Wiseau, how they met each other, and what it was like working on The Room, the movie. And the book's called The Disaster Artist. When I was touring around doing that documentary for Rooster Teeth, I read it on the plane, and it was so good. And Greg Sestero does the audiobook. He does the voice for it, and I hear it's really good. I hear he does a great Tommy Wiseau. So if you don't want to read, if you're one of those, I suggest downloading that audio. Go to audible.com. But I suggest using that, and I hear it's really good. Chris Damaris has been listening to it, and he's been saying nothing but good things about it. So the book's really interesting. It's about how these two guys met in an acting class, and then it talks about how they started making the movie. And there's just you can't believe the stories. And then you also find out a lot of background in some of these weird scenes and why Tommy's wearing cargo pants and why his pockets are filled with random shit. And it just tells you so much
Why
about
they're
the
playing
movie.
football.
The book is essentially about like how nuts Tommy Wiseau is, and
Yeah.
like why he just like didn't listen to reason and went against all film convention.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's a really interesting book. And okay, so at one point, just to tell you a little about the story. At one point, they have so Mark, the guy who plays Mark, Greg, is just producing the movie. He's line producing the movie, and they have another guy playing the role of Mark. And then right before they start filming, Tommy's like, I don't like him. I want you to play Mark.
It's a good Tommy
but
Wiseau.
he was like, but we won't tell this guy. Well, so what they did is they filmed the guy do all his scenes, and then they would like have the camera stay sit still and have Greg come up on set and film all his scenes. And they told the whole crew, oh, it's just because his agents want some footage for him so he can make a reel. So we're just helping him out to give him real footage. And they just kept filming more and more scenes with this Greg guy, and the whole crew was like, something's up, and it turned into this whole like argument on set. It's
Jesus.
amazing. Listen, you can't believe
That's
the
awesome.
shit.
I'll have to read
How
the book.
long was that movie filming for?
I think it was filming, I want to say like maybe 2 months, 2-3 months. It wasn't that long. They only had like one location. But yeah, the whole tell-all about the movie is great. So this book came out, did really well. Everyone was buying it. Seth Rogen and James Franco bought the rights to it, and they're gonna make a movie out of the book based on the bad movie. And apparently, James Franco is gonna play Tommy Wiseau, and then his little brother Dave Franco, who you might have seen in Neighbors and 21 Jump Street, and he's in a bunch of stuff.
He's on Greek.
Is he on Greek?
Yes.
Is that show still around?
No, it got canceled, but he's in season 2 or 3.
You know what's weird is it's funny watching movies like Superbad and stuff, because you see like little cameos by like Clark Duke and guys that went off to go do stuff, but you also see cameo from Dave Franco. He's the guy that what's his name, Jonah Hill yells at when he's like, hey, why don't you go piss your pants again? He's like, that was 11 years ago. He's like, people don't ever forget, man. People don't ever forget. But he's that guy, and he's like small little cameo by Dave Franco. But yeah, so Dave Franco is going to play Greg Sestaro, the Mark character from The Room, and then his brother James Franco is going to play Tommy Wiseau, which I think could go good or bad.
Is James Franco directing it?
I don't know.
See, that's the thing, or it can go good or bad, because I don't like any of the movies he's directed.
So we've been to a lot of press screens. This is where I've met Jenny at press screens, but also I'm guessing you've been to as many like Austin film festivals and just film festivals.
Yeah, I saw City of God last year.
Okay.
That's the one I'm thinking of. City of God. Not City.
It's the one with everyone from
something of God. Child of God.
Is that the one that has all the characters, all the actors from The Land of Oz or the Wizard of Oz movie he did?
No, Child of God's the one. It's an adaptation from a Cormac
McCarthy movie.
Yes.
The book. Yeah. No, I've heard it's awful.
It's pretty.
I've been unlucky enough to see 2 of James Franco's directed movies, and they're so bad. Like, he's a good actor, but like when he's trying to be a director, it's really hard to watch. And then he goes on stage afterwards and does the Q&As and just kind of like talks about how awesome he is, and you're just like, I don't know, man.
He's lucky he has Seth Rogen on that project, I think,
They're the
because I think
cutest
Seth
couple.
Rogen.
They really are.
I think Seth Rogen kind of brings in that like funny tone to all of James Franco stuff, and James Franco can easily like mesh off of him or like bounce off of him.
Well, they're doing that movie, The Assassin, right? Or The Assassination?
The Interview.
The Interview about the assassination of Kim Jong-il, or Kim Jong-un.
Oh, right. North Korea's like, we're going to nuke you.
Well, they took out 2 scenes of the movie, apparently, because like North Korea was like really pressuring the United States about how unhappy they were about a movie about killing their leader. So they took out a few scenes, and one of the scenes apparently was someone's face melting. And they're like, and I was like, that sounds awesome though. I really want to see that.
They're also changing like the badges to make it like
That's
not
right. They're
North
digitally
Korean.
changing, because there's a bunch of like, they actually like, I don't know why they did this. They've got the actual badges that the people military wear,
Right.
and a lot of the badges symbolize like honor of Kim Jong-il, the Kim Jong. God, I'm getting their names messed up.
Kim Jong-un is the one that's right now.
Okay,
Yes.
and then his dad. So
His dad is
when his
ill.
dad died, they all have badges saying, we honor him, and they put their actors in all those, and then apparently North Korea got pissed, so they're digitally going to all those shots and changing the badges. It's
All
kind
right,
of
sure. Why not? Add extra work.
Whatever.
That's fine.
That's so dumb.
yeah. Anyway, so keep your eye out for The Disaster Artist. That's going to be coming out, next year or so. James Franco is Tommy Wiseau. I'm curious. I definitely will be seeing that. And if you haven't read the book, go check it out or listen to the audiobook.
That sounds like you ever seen the documentary Best Worst Movie?
Yeah. Oh no, it's good.
It's like the same idea except not a real movie. It's just a documentary.
I like the documentary. Okay, so Best Worst Movie is a documentary about the movie Troll 2. Which apparently wasn't even a book. The movie wasn't even going to be called Troll 2. The movie
It
was
was going to be called Goblin or something.
Goblin or something. Yeah, so it was its own other standalone movie, and then the studio that picked it up distributed it and was like, we're going to call it Troll 2 because we're going to say it's a sequel to this other movie called Troll. But it had nothing to do with Troll 1.
Yeah, and the director was like, "There's trolls all over the movie." He's just like, he just didn't get the concept, like the differences between trolls and goblins. And everyone's like, "Why is the movie called Troll?" He's like, "Because there's trolls in it." There's no trolls at all.
These are goblins.
Man, that guy is so he's so arrogant.
The director?
I hate him so much.
From the doc? Oh, because he's in the doc, right?
Yeah, he's in the documentary. He's wow, that guy.
Well, let's talk about Troll 2 just for a little bit. It's about vegetarian goblins. These guys, they don't even eat people. They eat like trees and leaves.
Well, they turn
and
them
stuff.
into trees.
That's right. They turn people into trees and leaves. It's the weirdest fucking movie,
Let's
man.
not talk about
Let's
Troll
not,
2.
yeah. But that documentary is really.
That's all you need.
Okay, so who here knows who Tyler Perry is?
Yeah.
Is he still the highest paid actor in
doesn't?
Hollywood?
I don't know.
In 2011, he was the highest paid person in media, I think.
He's still the highest
seriously?
paid director in the top 10.
Really?
He's one of the
He made
richest. Yeah.
$130 million.
I've never seen any of his movies.
Me either. but I know about them.
I know about
I mean,
him.
I've watched bits and pieces of his like Medea movies.
Yeah,
Those movies
same here, but
are not
When?
my cup of tea. I mean, it's just like
I want to know
he makes so
when.
much money. I better give him a chance. Like I'm open minded. Not good. Not for me, at least. I don't know.
Well, so Tyler Perry came out. So Tyler Perry, he's done only a handful of movies that weren't Tyler Perry movies. He has a small role in the Star Trek movies. Mm-hmm. He was in the Alex Cross movie with which is based on those Morgan Freeman movies like Along Came a Spider and Kiss the Girls. They did another movie. I think it was called Alex Cross, and instead of Morgan Freeman playing him, they got a younger version. They went back in the storyline, kind of like they do with those Patriot Games movies. Anyway. So they got Tyler Perry to play like this kind of action star, and the movie flopped. And now he's got a role in the Gone Girl movie, with the David Fincher movie with Ben Affleck about did he or did he not kill his wife.
right.
The book's really good.
I guess I don't understand why he's so like upset about being in this movie, because like he actually looks like he's good in like I think Tyler Perry's okay at acting when he's in serious roles. Yeah. And I think in that, at least in the trailer, like he looked like he was in a good role. Like for him, it might not have been comedy, but it seemed like a solid role. I don't understand why he's upset.
I think sometimes some of the best actors do great when they're not the lead. Like, it's nice to see leading actors play kind of supporting roles because they do such a good job.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a good fit as he's kind of like a media. I don't know. He's like trying to make sure Ben Affleck's image isn't tarnished by the news reports and stuff. He's kind of like in charge of his media image.
I think, yeah, okay. It came across like he was a lawyer, but
I thought
either
he
way.
was the
lawyer.
district attorney.
Is he the district attorney?
I thought he was.
So you read the books. I don't know.
I'm not
just
sure who he
pulling
plays
things out of my
actually.
ass.
I just I didn't see him in the trailer really. I haven't watched the trailer that much
There's a
because
scene
I
in the
want to be
trailer for, like,
surprised.
2 seconds.
Well, maybe he's in
Okay.
the trailer for like 2 seconds because he said such shitty things about David Fincher. He came out.
Well,
Tyler
but
Perry.
apparently he had a good time in the making it with Ben
Yeah,
Affleck.
he was
though.
like having fun.
he was like
chatting him
singing
up.
songs with him, and
Which is
all that
weird
kind of
because if you
stuff.
know anything about David Fincher's sets, you know that like he's such a perfectionist that people come away from his movies, like from Fight Club, Seven. Jodie Foster called him meticulous when they did Panic Room, and David Fincher was like, "That's just a nice way of saying I'm a like control freak."
I mean, whatever. His movies are awesome.
Those movies are great.
Like he deserves
Social
the
Network,
respect.
yeah.
But what seriously? Like, what is the kerfuffle? Why is he upset? Why is Tyler Perry mad?
First of all, why the fuck would Tyler Perry say that? Why would Tyler Perry come out and say, "Hey, if I knew who David Fincher was, I probably wouldn't have done this movie"?
I just think it's so funny that he didn't know who he was. Like maybe he'd seen those movies, but he didn't know that director.
Yeah.
Kind of proving that he's
I wonder-
bigger than David Fincher in
Hold
his
on.
mind.
Joey, how many movies has Tyler Perry directed?
Oh God, he like
I'm
does
gonna
2
say
or
1,000.
3.
No.
1,000. He
I'm gonna go
directed
ahead and
3
check that out.
while we were having this conversation.
Probably.
Medea does a podcast. But yeah, it's to me that's just really disrespectful, especially for someone if you're going to work in the film industry and pretend like you don't know who David Fincher is. It's like being a musician and saying you don't know who the Beatles are. Oh, the Beatles, I guess I know who they are. Like that's just kind of a shitty thing, I think.
Who were the Beatles?
I hate you so much.
including
not a
TV
musician.
series and stuff that he's done. He's done 37 different projects since 200002.
Wow. That's a lot.
That's
That's
definitely
a
more than 3 a year.
Good amount.
No, definitely.
That's a lot of Eddie Murphy ripoffs.
Well, I saw this picture of. Oh wow, you went there. Hercules.
Oh God, damn it, no.
So, well, I mean, let's see. Alfred Hitchcock, when he was 67, he had already had 50 movies under his belt or something like that. Oh yeah. So, I mean, that's old time Hollywood versus. But this guy's like, I'm not saying anything against Tyler Perry's work ethic. He's obviously cranking them out. I just thought it was a kind of a little crappy thing to do because I mean, obviously, I love David Fincher.
Yeah.
So just don't come out and talk crap about your director. That's weird. I mean, there's been a lot of posts about it on websites, so I'd imagine I'm not the only one who thinks that.
I still don't understand
Why
he
did
did
Why
it.
would
Like
you
it
say
seems
that?
so not sensible. Whatever.
I just don't know how he didn't know what Gone Girl was. Like, does he read?
You're,
That was my first question is when he said, "Oh, I didn't know what the book was." And I was like, it's been on the New York Times bestseller list for, I don't know, like all year.
Patrick, I have no idea.
Shut up, JJ.
Well, it's like, well,
I can't
it's always
read.
it's always tough when movies are really kind of championed as this book. Like, whenever they've, it's one thing to do a book that's been around for a while, kind of dropped off, or books that weren't ever that big. But when you do a book that's just so big, it's always tough. Like Lovely Bones didn't do well.
Oh, yeah. But that was a horrible adaptation.
That was a bad movie.
That was a book.
Yeah.
I don't read a whole lot.
Well, see, that's fair.
I don't judge you.
Obviously, Tyler
I'm an
Perry
artist.
doesn't either.
Yeah. Yeah, Lovely Bones was was it the movie that Peter Jackson did after King Kong?
Yes.
So Peter Jackson Peter Jackson did some weird movies, some great movies before he did Lord of the Rings. Like Meet the Feebles. Go watch the trailer. YouTube Meet the Feebles. It is so fucking weird. Wow. But then he did Heavenly Creatures.
He did this thing called Forgotten Silver. It was a TV movie, kind of a faux documentary.
Okay.
About the movie business in New Zealand that didn't exist.
Oh, that's funny. And he did The Frighteners with Michael J. Fox, which
That
if
was
you've never
awesome.
seen,
Yeah.
go. There's a outtake on YouTube when Michael J. Fox, he keeps saying Doc. It's like
does he?
because
That's
there's
funny.
there's a character called the Judge or whatever, or
Yeah,
Judge.
yeah.
So instead of saying Judge, he keeps turning around going, "Hey Doc." There's all these outtakes. You're like, dude, this isn't Back to the Future.
Is that movie still on Netflix? I think it is.
With The Frighteners.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's how I
Yes,
saw
sir.
it. I think, yeah.
I think it's still on Netflix.
That's a fun movie. It's similar to Heart and Soul with Robert Downey Jr. But it's where this guy can talk to dead people. Yeah. But so Lord of the Rings came out. It did all this awesome money. Everyone was talking about Peter Jackson's the next Spielberg and all this stuff. And then he did King Kong, which hasn't aged well.
No.
Which was cool to see Jack Black not playing a Jack Black character, but the movie itself was kind of eh.
It was like 3 movies in one long movie.
Yeah. And then he did Lovely Bones. He had a bunch of misfires. And he said, he was going to hand off the Lord of the Rings series to, I think, Guillermo del Toro or Sam Raimi. We're going to do the Hobbit movies.
Not good choices.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think Del Toro
no,
would've
man.
made
I
a
think Del
good
Toro
Hobbit?
makes good monster movies, but
I think he would have made cool monsters in The Hobbit. Apparently, they kept some of his concept art, so
they like
somewhere.
Peter Jackson made awesome orcs in Lord of the Rings and made terrible orcs in The Hobbit. Like they went from like real makeup orc to like CG orc. Look how cool we are. Like it's not cool.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that he had such a failure in the business. He wasn't knocking movies out of the park after Lord of the Rings, and he was pretty much I'm done with that, like with Middle Earth. And then like he had to kind of eat crow and be like, I got to go back and do that one thing that I'm good at, which is like which apparently he's not even, because I won't say names around here that love Lord of the Rings, but they haven't been exactly wowed by the Hobbit movies.
I thought they were actually like as movie experiences, like going to the theater. I really liked them.
they're fun.
But
they're not Lord of the Rings.
Well,
They're not Lord of the Rings. Definitely not.
You know who else really doesn't feel, who's not really liking the Hobbit movies? Viggo Mortensen. There's a interview where he was talking about how the first Lord of the Rings movie was so kind of like bare bones and they didn't have that much money, and then over time they got like more and more into the effects and more into the effects, and they became bigger and bigger movies, and that now like that's Peter Jackson is kind of obsessed with this big approach versus he's losing kind of the core heart and kind of just like that passion. And he came out, like, you can Google it. It's Viggo Mortensen talking. I don't know, just Google Viggo Mortensen talking shit about Peter Jackson or something. But he comes out and he's like, yeah, I don't really think that they're good movies.
I don't know, whatever.
Haven't seen either one of them, so.
Nice. Well, as you can see, that we have a lot of snacks here on the table, but we're not allowed to eat them. No. We've been given strict orders.
I heard that popcorn was handled
But I have
properly.
2 words for you, the audience: free snacks. Yes, I'm going to give you the chance to get free snacks. Drop the candy bar, drop the potato chips. They're not good for you. Do what I do. Get natural, delicious snacks at naturebox.com. So, in the afternoon slump, when I'm hungry and irritable, it's so hard not to say a joke after that. Here's what I do. I grab peanut butter, nom noms from Nature Box. That's literally what it says. Or baked sweet potato fries. Or dark cocoa almonds, personalized to your favorites. So good, but so good for you. And now I want to give you the chance to try Nature Box for free with a sampler box featuring 5 of the most popular snacks. You heard me, free snacks. So start your free trial, go to naturebox.com/screenplay. Stay full, stay strong, do what I do, start snacking smarter. Go to naturebox.com/screenplay to get a free sampler box of delicious snacks. You're welcome.
Adam, I love slamplers. Don't you? Slamplers are the best.
I got when I go to Fridays, I get the slam platter.
No, you gotta have to
This
get
is
the grand
horrible jokes.
sampler.
I'm out of here.
Oh, man. Just to give you guys a sample of what's coming up.
So, just FYI, I typed in Viggo Mortensen talking shit, and yeah, it does come out. You're right.
Look at that.
On
Congratulations.
celebbitchy.com, so that's a good read, I guess.
For all like everything Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit have kind of screwed up.
Yeah.
That moving forced perspective stuff is still some of the most fascinating behind the scenes film that I've ever seen. Like just the creation of like the moving sets is so awesome.
I've met a few filmmakers that became filmmakers after watching the making of the Lord of the Rings like movies, because apparently they're just it's so cool to see them bring that to life.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to make movies after watching Lord of the Rings 60 times?
How many times have you watched it, Jenny?
I watch a marathon it twice a year, so that's a lot.
Which is your favorite?
3.
Really?
Return of the King.
I hear 2 a lot from people.
A lot of boys, right?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. It's the big Helm's Deep scene gets people.
I guess.
So what is it about 3 that?
Pippin singing.
Oh God.
It steals my heart when I was 13.
So there's been a lot of fan edits for Star Wars. This isn't a new thing, but so I found out recently about this Topher Grace edit. Topher Grace, who you might know as Eric from that 70s show, who's apparently a huge old movie film geek, took the first 3, the prequels, and he edited them down into one 85-minute movie. And he would just show it to his friends. He'd have friends come over to his house and he'd show it to them. And it picked up steam. People started sharing it. It's kind of a thing. I hear it's really, really good. Also, you have the Phantom edit of Part 1, which is, I think they cut out all the Jar Jar Binks.
Yep.
And then I think they cut out a lot of the C-SPAN kind of politics
All
stuff.
the random bullshit that you didn't need to know about or hear about, they cut it out.
Have you seen it?
It's a solid
No,
edit.
I want to see
I hear it's
Just
good.
watch it. There's a one that edits just a single scene, like making Jar Jar Binks die. That's
Yeah.
a great edit.
I'd like that. And then there's this someone tweeted at me earlier talking about the Machete edit or the Machete approach of watching movies. Joey, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the machete. Oh, there's my
Mele.
my Latino roots. Yeah, it's basically you watch in order from A New Hope, then The Empire Strikes Back, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, and then Return of the Jedi, completely doing away with Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So,
Yeah, it's weird. You go back. It's so weird. Is it 4, 5, 2, 3? No, it's
4, 5, 2, 3, 6.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I was talking to Adam Baird, the other IT guy up here at Rooster Teeth, and he was saying, I've seen the Machete approach, and it's awesome. So that's an interesting way. Go ahead.
Do they reference metachlorians in any of the ones besides the first one? Because if they don't, that's totally the reason for that.
Getting rid of.
Fuck metachlorians. So lame. What a dumb explanation.
Jenny, do you know what metachlorians are?
I'm not that familiar with Star Wars.
Like basically the higher your metachlorian count, which is like some measurable thing in your DNA or whatever,
Right.
like the better user of the force that you are. It's so like they went from this
see.
just like mystical, amazing like thing that surrounds us all to like, oh, you got a lot of those things in your blood. You're a good Jedi.
It's like the Force. The Force was such a cool mythological like mystery, and that's what made it so awesome. It was almost kind of holy in a sense.
Like, yeah, if you believed and you worked hard and you trained and really got yourself into the Force, then you can have it. But with this midichlorian bullshit,
They
it's just
turned
like,
into science.
You have to be special.
Fuck that.
Yeah, fuck that. Well, and then also, so the fans, someone leaked a story, and I don't know if it's true, but people were saying that Disney, now that they own Star Wars, is going to release the first trilogy, 4, 5, and 6, completely unaltered. Whereas George Lucas released new edits with new special effects, and he changed like who shot first. He changed what Darth Vader looked like at the end of Return.
Oh, is that where he changed Jabba the Hutt from a person to
CG.
the CGI
Yeah.
Well,
version?
Jabba the Hutt was
He
always
was a puppet.
he was
He was a puppet.
He was a puppet,
Yeah,
but
he
in the
originally was
first
a puppet.
one, when he first shows up,
Oh,
he's
it's like a guy.
person.
It's a guy in a coat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jabba the Hutt was originally like this guy in a
you're
fur
talking about-
coat.
Yeah, that's the one I
That's how he
seen.
shot it. Like he was kind of like this gangster kind of character,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
changed
yeah.
it. And,
Yeah.
I've only seen concept artwork of him. I
They
never
added
saw
a lot of
actual,
weird
like-
scenes in the remastered and changed a lot of things that I hated. Especially growing up, like I have them on Laserdisc, so I would watch the originals and then I watched like the DVD remasters, and there's like these weird scenes of.
Well, that's how people are making new HD edits of the old movies, is because the Laserdisc is because all the re-releases on DVD were all kind of fucked with and altered a bit, but the Laserdisc versus the VHS releases were all And George Lucas came out and said that this is the movie when he released them on DVD, I think in the 90s, and they were all changed up with special effects. He said, "This is the movie I always meant to release, and the people that hold dear, and I still have the VHS copies. If you want to watch the older versions, they're still on VHS. But if you for some reason have a nostalgic love for that movie, I guess I understand. But you fell in love with a half-finished movie.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Sorry.
I feel like that's kind of insulting to his fans. Like, you didn't know what you were really liking.
And the weird thing is, George Lucas, if you look him up in the 80s, he was campaigning for. They were trying to colorize black and white movies. They were trying to colorize all these famous black and white movies and re-release them and alter them so newer audiences could watch them. And he went to fucking Congress and spoke to Congress and was like, this is why movies should not be touched with. You leave them exactly how they are.
Oh my God.
And now he's the guy. I'm not making that shit up.
Good job,
that
George.
is so fucking weird. And James Gunn said the same thing about Guardians of the Galaxy. He said, I used to make fun of Steven Spielberg and George Lucas for messing with their movies years afterward. And he's like, now that I've done something as big and as special effects heavy as Guardians, he's like, I can totally see myself wanting to do that in the years to come.
That's interesting. I do remember there was a documentary on TV I watched about Star Wars, and they were talking about making the first movie, and it just seemed like everyone was talking shit about it. They were like, oh, this isn't going to be any good. This is horrible. This is
the
bad.
crew guys, yeah.
Yeah, like not even the crew guys, like the actors, and I'm sure George Lucas too, because he thought it was half made.
Well, Alec Guinness was famous for hating the role and the idea of it. That's
I don't want to hear about that. That's the sort of stuff that's just like, don't tell me.
Don't tell me.
I love
I want to
Obi-Wan.
be happy.
So let me ask you, do you think it's okay because like some of these fans are going way out of their way. They're using elements, like they're almost like cut and pasting elements from one version and other versions so they can go back and piece by piece digitally make the movie exactly how it was.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is okay? Like for fans to have the movie they want, even though they're breaking laws?
Oh, absolutely. Fucking create. Make new things. Have fun with something that you know already exists. You have the footage there. Go have fun. Create, like I said, create new things. Make entertainment for entertainment's sake.
I mean, as long as you're not selling it, it's not really illegal, right?
I guess right.
Yeah, that's all great. I also think that Disney re-releasing them on Blu-ray in their original form is the best move they could do, because like as soon as Disney acquired Star Wars, well, it's not about that. It's about restoring. It's like good faith. Like everyone is really down on Disney. They think they're going to ruin the Star Wars franchise. It's going to be a bunch of like shitty fuzzy bullshit. And then if they do that, it's going to give people like a little bit better perspective or respect for Disney.
Yeah.
I want that so bad.
I'd be very surprised if they end up doing it.
I thought it was a real. I don't know if was it just a leak. I thought
the
it was a
only
real
legal
thing.
thing is Disney owns all the Star Warses now, except for A New Hope. Fox heavily owns that one,
And they won't let it go.
No, they will never let that go. They own Star Wars. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's something that you can't even like trade for.
Yeah,
Like,
so
you can trade me your whole Marvel franchise.
I mean, they could do something in the future because Fox would get a lot of money from that. So there's a possibility, but I wouldn't hold your breaths for that.
It's like Sony and Spider-Man; they won't let go.
Oh, don't even get me started on Sony being shitty about Spider-Man. Spider-Man should be in the Avengers. God damn it. So funny man Jon Stewart, who we all know from The Daily Show, and for having that really funny segment from Half Baked.
Beautiful man. Beautiful man. Love him.
Have you ever seen a $20 bill on weed? Anyway, so Jon Stewart, who we've always known as kind of a funny comedian, who's kind of turned The Daily Show. It was originally a funny show when he took over, and he's made it more into the politics show. But he still does a good job of making it a great show. Oh, yeah. He wrote and directed his first film ever. It's called Rosewater, and it's based on this journalist that was on The Daily Show and then taken hostage, I think, in Iran. And they used his interview on The Daily Show as against him, you know? And so is this whole thing. He wrote a book about it, and then Jon Stewart decided that he'd be the best person to write and direct this movie. It looks like it's a pretty heavy looking movie.
Yeah.
It's also like really topical because we're having that right now where ISIS is capturing journalists and killing them and stuff like that. Like it looks like a serious film, man, but it also looks really interesting. I'd love to see it.
It looks really good. Gabriel Garcia Bernal is the lead, I believe, in it, and he took off time from The Daily Show. Like there was a time in The Daily Show where it was being hosted by John Oliver,
right?
And that was because Jon Stewart was filming this movie. So I thought that was a cool move on his part to leave his desk and go film a movie. The only thing that's interesting about this on film sites is every time they release a tidbit or footage or clips or just stills of the movie, they always release one black and white photo of Jon Stewart with gray hair and a beard, standing next to a camera, doing this. It's just,
I'm making movies, guys.
grew a beard.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I mean, I loved him in Death to Smoochie, but I'm excited about a more serious Jon Stewart role. Or I mean, as a director.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if he puts the Daily Show part in the movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if they actually ever cut to this, if there ever will be a scene when the character is on the show and hanging out with Jon Stewart, or if they'll like kind of stay away from that.
I mean, if it's part of the real story, I mean, they'll probably just have it like allude to it on a television or something like that.
Yeah.
The fact that he's making it, I mean, I figure they have to touch it at least.
It's a semi-promotion for your show.
Yeah.
Like,
So last week, I talked about that this week we'll be talking about Doctor Who. So it's this week, and we're talking about Doctor Who. A lot of tweets. I can hear Jenny over here geeking out about it. A lot of tweets I'm getting from people like, Doctor Who, why aren't you talking about Doctor Who? I'm just going to go out, like, full disclosure. I don't know much about Doctor Who. I think I've only seen a few of the movies. I think I saw the one about the angels.
That's not a movie.
the movies, huh?
It's not a movie.
Is that an episode? I thought it was a TV. I thought it was like a TV movie they
Are you talking
did.
about like Angels of Manhattan?
It's
or-
a singular episode. It's
The
a
one,
bit more singular.
the one where they come back where he turns around and they move.
Blink.
That's
There's a
Any
lot of
angel
weeping angels ones that are like that.
I'm sorry. So you guys have at it. Okay. So I'm the people, the small, what used to be the big majority is now a small minority of people who do not know anything about Doctor Who. So explain to me what's going on and what's cool about this new Doctor.
Do you want to take over or me first?
you first. Explain who the Doctor is to JJ.
Okay, who is the Doctor? We don't really know. He's an alien from outer space that flies around in a TARDIS, which is bigger on the inside. And he's from Gallifrey, and he is the only alien left of his race because he kind of blew them up. Or
He had a hand in it. He had a small hand in it.
a small hand.
Yeah. So he has.
They're like stagnant in a certain time, like repeating itself, right? Is that
Yeah.
where we're at now?
I think he trapped them in order to keep
in
them
a
alive.
painting.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so I have a question. So they released, was it an episode or a movie? Like where is
the
the
50th anniversary
the two Doctor?
special?
Like
Yes,
the two Doctors.
Episode.
That wasn't a movie. It was like a big episode.
Oh, it was a big episode.
That
Okay, so it was a
in
special.
theaters.
Yeah, well, you know. When I say movie, I think like TV movie or like a standalone, like kind of how
Yeah.
the British release like holiday specials. So explain to me, how can there be two Doctors at one time? Because when one Doctor leaves, like something like, I think I saw the one where David Tennant left. I saw a clip of it online where he kind of like, you know, all this crazy stuff happens and he kind of burns up and then turns out to be Matt Smith.
He
because,
regenerates.
because they travel time.
Yeah.
That's
No, he regenerates.
They
The
travel
Doctor.
time.
Yeah.
The Doctor can only take so much.
I'm
like
making so
each
much the
body.
audience cringe right now. It's
I
like
really are.
It's like
He's
listen,
burning
I can hear Twitter.
I sound like your mom talking about Doctor Who.
Yeah, no,
My mom watched Doctor Who, so she doesn't sound like that.
screw you, JJ.
So explain to me how is it possible to have two Doctors in one episode?
There's only been like 2 or 3 instances where like multiple Doctors have been in the same place.
I haven't watched the older episodes.
for-
My boyfriend could probably geek out and tell me about that. But there's the one where David Tennant and the other younger one with the celery. What's his name? God, I hear people like hating on me now because I don't know his name. You
What are
don't know
you
the old
talking
Doctors either, do you?
like yeah.
Yeah, he has like a
no,
celery
yeah,
like
no, no.
piece on his like his outfit, and he like shows up in the TARDIS. This is actually not even a real episode. It was like kind of like after credits. I think it's online on YouTube. So there's that moment where David Tennant meets like his Doctor, and then there's the 50th.
Right, where there's 3 Doctors.
Yeah, which the War Doctor, who's not even really like, he's like a separate personality.
But I'm
He's
glad
not
we got
in the
to see him.
Regeneration. Yeah, he's played by John Hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It was
Yeah.
awesome.
I like John Hurt.
And I can't think of any other moments where they've been together.
Yeah, but it was like,
twice.
like it was an event that brought them together. It wasn't necessarily like them going like, let's get together with the Doctors and have a grand old time, guys. No, it's just like, oh, shit's gone wrong. I need help, and help kind of forms itself.
Yeah,
But
it has
you
to do with the
can't-
War Doctor. So it also has
Yeah.
to do with the painting and Gallifrey and the Daleks.
Time travel.
So tell me about this
Yeah.
new season. So we have a new season of Doctor Who. We
Yes.
have a new Doctor who got introduced on the Christmas special, right? And then now they've done 2 episodes in this season.
Yes.
Okay, so now whereas with David Tennant and Matt Smith, they were kind of bringing in that younger generation, like with the younger Doctors. Now we have an older Doctor who. I'm not too familiar with his filmography. I know he was he played someone's father in The British Skins.
He's also in Into the Loop.
Oh, that's a funny movie.
And he was in another Doctor Who episode. He played.
He was in
he was
2
in the
other
Pompeii.
Doctor
He was in a
episodes.
Doctor Who episode, and then he was in the spin-off
He had
series.
Torchwood.
Yeah, Torchwood. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was in Torchwood, and he was in the Pompeii episode, which actually also Amy, Karen Gillan, she is in that episode too, but not as Amy.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I think they're gonna.
So it's
actually
basically like
put
a
him-
I've
flub kind of,
Yeah.
but now they might work it in a little.
But yeah, he's older, and they kind of like. I think the idea was to go back to like the older series.
Yeah,
kind of like,
and-
get that feel.
Yeah, the deal with him is just like he doesn't like the first episode. He doesn't like his new face.
He likes being young.
Like he I think he said he was
That's
being
funny.
young for, or like alluded to being young for Amy, or not for
I
Amy,
thought they
but
said
for
to Clara,
Clara.
but that wouldn't make sense because he didn't choose his face. I would think he would
Yeah.
be young for maybe Rose Tyler then, or Amy. Because he meets Amy as a young girl, and would she have connected
true.
with him on a level of the way she did if he was this old,
The old
grouchy
guy.
man?
All right, Ellis, how much are you keeping up with this?
Oh, I've watched everything besides the new season. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I guess I must be, but I thought that when he transforms into a new doctor, he sort of forgets who he was.
For a brief period of time.
Until he
for a brief
eats
period
some
of time.
sort of food like tea
Ah,
or fish
okay.
sticks
Yeah,
and
yeah,
custard.
and everything comes back.
Did you see the Doctor Who restaurant that served fish sticks and
Yes.
custard?
No.
Those were actual cake. You know, on the
That's
show, he actually
awesome.
ate cakes.
Yeah.
Cakes.
So,
You should have just gone for it, man.
general consensus on the new season. How are you digging it? Good or bad? Like, do you like it? Do you not?
I like it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it's darker. It's
It
a
is
lot.
very much
It's
darker.
darker in aesthetic and it's darker in writing. And there's a lot more jokes.
There are weird comedy cues.
Yeah,
in these
there's
two,
some like sexual jokes.
there's sexual jokes. There's also weird Looney Tunes kind of moments.
Kind of zany
Yeah.
moments.
It's kind of like just kind of sprinkled onto there. It's just like this is weird, but
The
it's a different
Sontaran
writer.
kind of
like,
makes fun of Clara.
Yeah,
Is it
like
a
it's
new-
not Moffat.
is there a new
Joey, are we
companion?
getting any Twitter action from this Doctor Who talk?
Yeah, first of all, they said they also had an episode with the first 3 Doctors and another episode with the first 5. The 5th Doctor was Peter Davison.
Yeah, so this would be
And,
older
yeah.
episodes.
Yeah.
Anything on
Not
the celery
familiar.
guy?
The celery guy, that's the 5th
That's
Doctor.
the Fifth Doctor.
That's the fifth one. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, JJ.
Sorry, jeez.
Get your act together, buddy.
Man, I should just get Brandon up here.
Jesus.
So
But the first 2 episodes were directed by the A Field in England director. I found that out actually the other day, which explains kind of the dark and wacky tone. Because I don't know if you've heard of that movie. It's a Draft House Films movie, so it's weird.
I've heard about it. I've not seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but it's weird, and it kind of explains the darker, weird tone. There's a skin balloon in the first episode.
There is. I was like, because they try to
Skin
explain,
balloon?
like, how are you getting away, or how is
That
this going to
dude.
happen? And he just looks at, like, Peter Capaldi and just goes, skin. And then, like, you just see this
balloon.
balloon of skin just start to flow up into the air, and it's just like, oh, fuck, no, that's really dark. What the
I
hell?
really hope that their band comes out calling themselves Skin Balloon because that is
Skin Balloon?
a great
Dude,
fucking name.
new band. Let's start it.
Let's see. Someone out there, send me your EP. I want to listen to it.
play the
So I'm going to
triangle.
segue into this our next TV story by yelling out the name of a utensil, spoon. Do you get that reference? The Tick.
Yes.
That's right. Did you watch The Tick, the cartoon? Anyone?
I watched the cartoon and the live action show.
I loved. Okay, the live action show was like a dream come true
Fucking
for
ridiculous.
me. The Tick, the live action show might come back. If you ever saw the cartoon on Fox, it's way ahead of its time. It was kind of before Mystery Men. This whole like let's take superheroes and make fun of them.
It's a cult.
It's so
Honestly,
good.
It's a cult.
It's so
favorite.
good.
Yeah.
Like in the repeating jokes. Like there's like in the first episode, I think Chairhead. There's the Chairhead guy,
Yeah.
and he tries to write his name into the moon, and he only gets like the CH and a little bit of the A, I think. Or maybe it's just the C and the H. But for the rest of the season, anytime the moon is in the background of a shot, you can still see
it.
the scene. And then, so the Tick is this big kind of buffoon, kind of a moron with a heart of gold. And he dresses up like a big, is it blue? He's
Big
blue.
blue tick,
Big
yeah.
blue tick. And his sidekick is Arthur,
Yep.
who is
He's a
kind of
white moth.
He's a moth.
Yep.
And I remember, so I say spoon because there's the Tick. There's an episode where he needs a catchphrase. So I think he's eating cereal. He looks at his spoon. So whenever he jumps out for enemies, he just runs spoon, and he jumps down and starts fighting people. It's ridiculous, but it's so good. The reason Nestor Carbonell, who you might know from, he was on Lost, and then he was also the mayor in the Batman movies with Christopher Nolan. But what's so funny because he was in the real Batman movies. What you just made a face? You just
I know who the mayor is, the woman that wears like the eye makeup.
yes, and he was on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he was on
Thank
Lost. He played one of the others, and what's really interesting about that is on the Tick, the live action show, he played a character that was based on a character called Bat Manny. So instead of Batman, it was Batmanny. But when they did the live action TV show, they made him Spanish, and it was him, and they called him Batmanuel.
Yeah.
I thought that was, and now he was actually in the Batman movies. Come on, Batmanuel. That's a funny.
Pretty great.
That's fucking hilarious. If you're not seeing The Tick, you can watch the whole. I think they had a 9-episode run. I mean, the first one was directed by Barry Levinson, or is it Sonfeld? Who did Men in Black?
No idea for that one. Oh.
Is it
Director of
Sonfeld?
Men
It's
in
Sonfeld.
Black.
So Barry Sonfeld, who did Men in Black, directed The Tick, the first episode. And then after that, the episodes are good. You can tell their budget isn't nearly as big, but it's still a really good show. I think you can watch the whole series on Netflix right now. I think Amazon has bought the rights for it. Patrick Warburton, who you might know from... He's everything. He's from
His voice.
He's that voice. He was on Seinfeld. He was in Emperor's New Groove.
Yep.
He's
Kronk.
He's the voice of American Dad. No, not American Dad. Of the guy in the wheelchair in Family Guy.
Joe.
Joe. So he's in talks to come back as the Tick, and I'm super excited about that. I guess me and
happy if it's
Patrick
him.
are the only ones. So you guys are not.
I don't know the Tick,
I
man.
have no
Well,
idea.
sorry.
Well, you're missing out. Well, how many of you
Way
guys
over my
watch?
head.
How many of you guys watch Once on ABC?
I actually do.
That Once Upon a Time show?
Is that what it's, what's the
It's Once Upon a Time. Once would be the movie that was the musical.
about the singer
Yeah.
songwriters. So Once is about about a town full of like fairy tale people?
Yeah, it's a town full of fairy tale people that are stuck in the town of Storybrooke, Maine, and they're stuck there from another dimension. And they lived in the enchanted forest, and the evil queen was pretty evil and decided to like wipe their memories and take them to a place where they were not comfortable.
What kind of characters do we have here? Isn't Captain Hook in there? Or?
Yeah, he's in there.
And that's Robert Carlyle, isn't it? I think
Robert Carlyle plays Rumpelstiltskin.
Okay, so Robert Carlyle, who, if you watched Trainspotting last week, who plays Begbie, who's a badass in Trainspotting. He's Rumpelstiltskin.
Great
He's so
in
good.
Once Upon a Time. He's like the only reason I watched that show
Really?
at this point.
So he's a big part.
Yeah, he's the main. I wouldn't call him a villain. He's really multidimensional. But yeah, he's a
Is he
villain.
ugly?
He has like gold specks on his face when he's in the enchanted forest. He kind of looks like gold.
When I think of Rumpelstiltskin, I think of like a troll of a dude, sparkly.
Not
Yeah.
sparkly, more like matte gold.
She's a matte. Did you ever work at Home Depot in the paint department? Is he glossy or is he matte? I must know. So Once, it's a show. So ABC, it's an ABC show. ABC
Right.
owns Disney, or Disney owns ABC, whichever way you want to look at it.
They're together.
their Facebook says it's complicated.
Yeah.
But so they are introducing characters from Frozen into Once. Now let me ask you, because you actually
Yeah.
watched the show. Too soon?
Yeah, I'm not a fan because I felt like the reason I liked the show is because it seemed like they had a plan, which was a little bit different from Lost. And two of the creators, they're from Lost.
I didn't know
So yeah, and I didn't like Frozen that much, so I'm not excited.
Wow.
I'm not very excited for Frozen characters. I just kind of wished they already had like 2 half seasons where it was like one was in Neverland, the last season was Wizard of Oz, and now it's Frozen. I want like a season that's a normal season where you get to be with the characters you already like. I don't want any new ones. I don't want Frozen.
Adam, thoughts on Frozen?
Dude, I've actually watched Once Upon a Time. I don't like that show at all. Like, I tried to give it a shot because people were like, oh, it's a great show.
Why?
It's a guilty pleasure for sure.
fuck,
It's not
man?
like it's.
Like, I gotta be crazy. That show is bad.
I just
God damn.
imagine you like, I don't know, like in your Viking outfit that you wear at the house, watching Once Upon a Time, being like, no,
It's
I
not
don't
even
like it.
the story itself is so whacked out, but like the acting is also terrible.
I would argue that Rumpelstiltskin's really awesome though, but
All
it's
right.
Robert Carlyle.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
but
great.
I just can't. It's like there's so much disbelief to suspend. It's like I can't. It's so dumb.
it's an ABC
and also
show.
like Frozen is all right. I don't really care, but I don't like making a whole like a whole what is the word I'm looking for?
Like a whole a story
A whole season
about
a gimmick seems really crazy.
It seems like a show that it's kind of like whenever shows aren't doing so well, so they bring in all their celebrity friends to help out. So I feel like they know Frozen's a cash cow,
Yeah,
and I just wonder if it'll live up to the hype or if people will feel let down.
I hope they
I
have a
already
musical
feel
soon.
left down.
All right,
feel
we heard it
sad.
here from Miss Jenny Nulf. Not
tired
looking
of
forward to
Frozen.
Frozen.
So tired of Frozen.
I am too.
Please go away.
Patrick, let it go.
Wow.
All right, so really quickly before we get into our movie book club of the week, just we'll spend a little bit of time talking about Full House is making a comeback.
Oh man.
Oh man, I've never been so excited to see Uncle Jesse wearing white sneakers with a black leather jacket. I mean, come on. So John Stamos is apparently leading the run on putting the show back on TV. And so far he's got, I believe, Uncle Danny and Uncle Joey are talking about being somewhat involved to an extent. I don't know if they're going to be on the show all the time, but the characters that play DJ, Stephanie, and the next door neighbor Kimmy are all signed and on board to be on the show. What do you think about this?
Why should I care?
Exactly.
It's Full House.
Is it going to be like Boy Meets Girl
great. It's Full
or Girl
House.
Meets World? Sorry.
I mean, don't get me
I
wrong.
think so.
It's not like the best show ever, but it's like it was a lot of people's favorite shows in the back in the 90s. I mean, the TGIF, that whole lineup started off with Full House. I mean, it was a good show. It wasn't the
I
greatest
liked
show.
that
It was a good
show.
show.
I'll tell you who won't be on it, the Olsen twins. They're above
about
that.
to ask.
Oh yeah.
They can't
Forgot
switch
about
off
that.
roles anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
It's too obvious.
Man, like
Maybe Elizabeth Olsen will come in
That
and pretend to be them.
yeah, that show was like such a like it was good because of how 90s it was, and like for some reason even watching it back then it was like nostalgic to the time period.
Yeah.
Because it was like glorifying like everything that was weird back
TGIF, man.
then. I don't know, man. Like there's so many shows about families and like the comedies, like sitcoms about that stuff now that I don't see what place it has.
I don't know, laugh tracks are back. Like
You
laugh
have
tracks,
to-
they went away, but now it's like you have like Big
they
Bang
ever
Theory
really
and all the
go
shows on
away?
CBS and How I Met Your Mother, like laugh track shows or like multiple camera shows, like they're back.
But you can't keep their same format that it used to have.
It'd have to be a spin on it.
It
Like
would have
Girl
to be
Meets
like
World is a spin on
yeah,
Boy
yeah,
Meets
yeah.
World.
You can't have those like sappy. Well, let's talk moments.
Yeah, totally.
'Cause-
Dude,
Wait, no,
if
you
Bob
could.
Saget's on, because Bob
Nobody's gonna
Saget.
pay attention.
Well, Bob Saget is filthy. Like
Oh,
his
yeah.
stand-up comedy is
awesome.
awful. So like he can't, and he always talked about how much he hated playing Danny Tanner because he's had to be like, "Well, Michelle, let me tell you about how your mom died." You know, like,
Dude, I remember that episode so vividly. When she wakes up, she's like, "If you're my dad, then who's my mom?"
and then they play that sad music, and everyone gets down on a knee.
Cut to commercial.
Dude, Jesse and the okay, I'm gonna give you a quick quiz here, Joey. What was Jesse's band called?
It's Jesse and the shit. I don't know.
All right, and what was the dog's name?
Jesse and the what? Jesse and the kids.
No, that's awful. Kara, don't listen to Kara.
Jesse and the Jets.
What's the name of the dog?
I don't know.
They had a
Comet,
dog.
right? Wasn't it Comet?
Comet.
I think
I
so.
knew
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
that's in the
something like
question.
that.
on the
But
end,
I
too.
think they're just trying to bank off like the Girl Meets World. That's
Totally.
actually doing well. It's got renewed for a second season. I think that they're just going with the we were popular once back in the day. We're semi still relevant. Let's see if we can reboot it. But I don't I agree with Patrick. I mean, I love the show back in the day, but I don't think it's gonna do as well. Like let's just say Girl Meets World.
Nobody's gonna care.
When are they going to reboot Seventh Heaven?
Wow. Wow.
Jessica,
Really?
Isn't
Really?
that Jessica Biel got her start on that?
Yeah, thank God for Seven
Back on
Heavens.
the
Otherwise, we wouldn't have
CW.
Jessica Biel
Yeah, I'm with you on there.
in Blade Trinity. Or was it called Trinity?
Yeah,
it was.
that's
She was
harsh.
fantastic.
That's harsh. And on a totally side note, is anyone watching BoJack Horseman on Netflix?
No.
Not yet.
It's
I heard
funny.
it's funny.
And it kind of makes fun of that whole Full House like '90s sitcom aesthetic. It was actually Cole, our intern, who's running camera here for screenplay, who's like, "You should give it a go." And I watched it, and Will Arnett does a pretty funny job, and Aaron Paul, and there's a lot of people like Paul F. Tompkins. There's a lot of good voice talent. It's on Netflix. It's their first adult animated show. Why are you making faces at me, Patrick?
I don't think it actually is technically their first adult show. I
The
think
animated
they had,
show.
No, not animated, because I think they actually took over rights to some adult animated show that no one likes, and they kind of hid it away.
Oh, that's funny. They're like, "Get over here. We're gonna hide you like that ugly stepchild in
It
the
says
basement."
Netflix original on it, but they just kind of hid it in the
Nice.
corner.
That's funny.
I think BoJack Horseman's okay, but like all the weird, like they're taking there was like a minute-long segment in that show where they cut back to his old career playing like the guy on Full House, basically, and they put that up as like a standalone video on Netflix. So, like, watch the old show. It's like that's stupid advertisement. Get out of here.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's super weird.
I've only seen about 2 or 3 episodes. I enjoy that and Comedy Bang Bang, which I recently got into. They're all on
Bang Bang
Netflix.
is
Yeah, that's
good.
on Netflix.
Yeah.
The Comedy Bang Bang is like if Wonder Chosen was a show. It's so fucking out there, but really funny.
It's on IFC, right?
It's IFC, but then they have like I think the first 2 seasons on Netflix.
Netflix,
It's Scott Aukerman and Reggie Watts. Those are all
Yeah.
good things on TV you should be checking out. Everyone out there in audience land. Okay, so let's move on to Movie Book Club. Before we do, Joey, why don't you let us know what the actual quote from what movie that was?
Well, again, the quote was, "There's 3 ways to do things: the right way, the wrong way, and the way to do it." And it's can y'all guess who it is?
Nope.
No one.
Can I throw? A
It's
guess?
Robert De Niro in Casino. And for the second week in a row, at Noble Lance got it right.
Can you do the quote now as Rob De Niro?
There's 3 ways to do things.
What is that?
No, you gotta look like this. You gotta go.
So for now, we're gonna have Patrick over here.
Let's get
I just screamed really loud.
Go ahead.
Oh, you.
Squint your
Oh, I
eyes.
was thinking Al Pacino.
You.
Hey. You and me, buddy. Right here. Right here, you and me. Don't do good. Make a lot of magic.
It's like Robert De Niro if he had a stroke. Knock on wood.
Wow.
Okay, so the movie book club of the week. We every week we tell people to watch a movie, and then we're gonna sit around and talk about it. Last week I picked Cinema Paradiso, which is I think it was a 1988 Italian film. It didn't get released till the 90s here, and it won a bunch of awards.
Academy Award, yeah.
It won a bunch of awards. I think it was one of Miramax's first, if not their first, foreign film that they distributed. It's pretty well known. It's kind of out there as far as like the film history. Someone tweeted at me and said they were watching old episodes of The Simpsons and that they had a gag at the end that kind of made fun of that whole like film reel like finale ending. And so The Simpsons have spoofed it. So it's kind of, well known pop culture.
I had no idea about this movie until you told me about it.
It's
And
been
I
on my
watched it
list
last
for a
night.
long time.
It's I will say like hot or cold, and I know some of you guys are hot or cold about it. The same reason with Train Spotting, the same thing with Cinema Paradiso. I got so many tweets. I tried to retweet as many of them as I could, where people were just like, "I've never watched a foreign film. I watched this movie and I cried," or like, "Thanks,"
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, you didn't cry?
No. I didn't
is
cry.
wrong with you?
I'm sorry. Like here,
All right.
I'm a cynical asshole. No. And so yeah, I know, right? Who would have known? It takes a lot to get me to cry, like for that kind of. I don't know what the
It
hell I was
doesn't take
supposed
a
to
lot for me to
feel.
cry.
I understand that it was sad and
Tell me a scene.
happy at times.
Tell me
but
a scene that you did cry, like not in this movie, but tell me a movie scene that made you cry.
the beginning of Up.
Oh, that's cheating.
Yeah,
Come on.
everyone
That's
cries in that
cheating.
scene.
You just asked me the question. I answered it. What the fuck?
All right. Takes you 15 minutes and like a whole relationship and a death to make you cry. I get it.
Yes.
Before I talk to Gilby, because I know how you felt about it. Yeah, I've seen this movie at least 4 times in my lifetime. So I watched it again last night just to kind of, and I fall in love with it so many times. And I definitely I love movies. I love movies that love movies. I love Toto. I see a little bit of me in Toto. I see a kid when he holds the film reel up against the candle, like I feel like I would have totally like taken scenes from a movie home on a reel and looked at it and acted it out. Like I love this whole idea of not having money but still finding the imagination behind it. But there was that scene, the first time I ever watched this movie, I was by myself. It's about to be like 6-7 years ago. And I knew, I was like, I got it off Netflix on DVD and I watched it. And I'm just at my house having a beer, watching this movie by myself. And then there's the whole fire scene, and that scene's very hard to watch. But the scene whenever they brought up Alfredo, and this is a man who loves and lives for movies and like knows all these like quotes and all these scenes from like Clark Gable movies. Like he always talks in movie knowledge, and so he's the projectionist. And when his wife walks him into the projection room, and you see that he's got like glasses of a blind man, you realize that he's blind, has the cane. I hyperventilated, cried. Like
Really?
Like I was like I was beside myself, and I was like looking around my house, like making sure there was no one gonna walk in at any moment. Like I'm crying to a movie by myself. Like I don't think I've ever cried in a movie.
You want to know
before
what my
then.
reaction was?
What?
It was like, well, that's what you fucking get for not running away in time.
Oh, come on,
You stuck
man.
around.
Oh, you're so
He
cold.
tried to save it. I mean,
Yeah, and the fire blew
I'm
up in
not
his
saying.
face.
Here's the thing. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
I just don't know why you would cry during that movie. I would understand why you had feelings and stuff like that. I am not that cold heartless. Jesus.
there's
But
Go ahead. Go.
go.
it's just it doesn't get me the same way it got you. Apparently, maybe it's because I'm not like the biggest film guy.
Maybe it was like a film like of like an animator or something, and they lost their like hands and they couldn't draw. Would that hurt your feelings?
I think he's crying right now.
You crying right now? See, because that's how
mean-
that's the same equivalent to me of that moment.
No, I totally agree. Like when I saw that, I was like, how can you not watch movies? And I think about that sometimes. And then actually seeing that in a movie, I was like, I don't know if I could live with that.
I get
I don't know if
scared.
I can live.
Because I love watching movies. I love shooting my own movies. And this weekend I had a gnat fly in my eye, and for like 2 days it wouldn't get out of my eye. And I was like, what if I lose my eye? Like, what if I can't watch movies? Like, what if this eye is my strong eye and it goes out, and then this one goes out because it's the weak eye, and I can't watch movies anymore? Like, I worry about that shit. You know what I mean? And it frightens the fuck out of me.
No,
You saying that? You ever seen the movie In Bruges?
Yes, I haven't seen.
So there's a scene in there where the French guy is like, he shot me in my eye, and now I cannot see out this eye ever again. I am so sad. So fantastic.
So let's hear your thoughts, Alice.
I'll be straight up. I think it was for me, it wasn't exactly my cup of tea, but I recognized it was a good movie. But there was one part at the end when he finally plays back that reel, and it's just all the scenes that Alfredo had to cut, and it was really, really powerful and emotional. And then, like, for a second, I was like, if I could cry, I would cry. But then, like, you go back, it cuts back to the actor, and he's just not. He has like one tear, and he's like not sad at all. I'm like, you fucker, you ruined it for me. But I think overall, it was like a good movie for what it was, but I wasn't that interested in the overall story. Although I did like Little Toto. I thought he was cute.
I really, that's
it was
why
annoying as shit.
you didn't like. What is the matter with you?
Yeah, I thought
that
he was
kid
cute.
is
He was
amazing.
precious.
I want to just go.
He's so precious.
I wanted to take him home.
Don't you ever grow.
Well, when his mom started hitting him, then I felt bad, but I was just like, well, that's what you get.
I did think that though. I was like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, but
See?
sad.
But there's something about relationships, like, and this, you got to be careful with this next statement. Something about something really sweet and nice about relationships of an old man and a young boy.
Oh, man.
No, but like
Well, when they're friends.
Yeah, when they're friends, like, cause their back and forth is so great, and
It
like
is.
when they give each other shit, like when like Toto gives him the hand, you know, and when Alfredo's like, you can have these film reels, and he's like, grazie, you know.
Yeah, actually, that was my favorite scene. Was the classroom scene?
Toto
Just
was an
because
asshole.
between those two.
Toto was in that scene,
he was
just
just
that
a
scene,
little
he was
dick,
such
and
a
I was just like, "You're fucking
He's laughing
hilarious."
at him. You're dumb.
Like,
You're older.
Alfredo was like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing, and Toto's like, yeah, fuck you.
Wow.
Wow, Alfredo
Fucking
just turned
jerk.
into like
Thank you,
Luigi.
Mario.
Right? You say Mario.
Listen,
So watching it again, like, I knew that there were going to be parts where I choked up at, and I found myself feeling in parts that I didn't like. They were much heavier to me this time, and it was whenever they're watching a movie and there's not nearly enough room for the whole crowd. It's right before the fire, and Alfredo shows him a trick. Let me show you what I can do. And he opens up the projector, and the movie travels across the projection room in this tiny little square. It's the music in this moment, and they the theme really gets really heavy, and it's beautiful. And then you see this little image go like across like people's faces across the room, and it goes out the window, and it plays on the side of like that guy's house. And that to me was just like this. It was, like I said, the music helped a lot, but it was such a beautiful moment for me. And I don't know. I love this movie. It's such a. I mean, it speaks to me. Like, I love movies.
Yeah, I mean, I like that part because it was just like, we're giving you guys what you want. Here's entertainment. You guys don't get this a lot.
In the
Here
square.
it is.
It's my
yeah,
square.
What was his deal?
The guy there was a guy
homeless crazy
who was
person?
the homeless guy who was like, this is my square. I own the
Yeah,
square.
he would just protect
that
it.
was a weird, like, recurring theme in that
They
movie.
when they showed him
get
later,
it.
when everyone was all old, he
That's
was
the
there.
only reason I was like, that has to be the only reason he was in this freaking movie, because you needed that little sense of like relativity from the old times.
yeah.
But they had a lot of that. I mean, there was a lot
But
of
it was
characters
just
that
like-
showed up and they're like, I have a beard and I'm old.
Also, was that theme? Was it just like reused over and over again? And
It was
It
just like,
Towards
it was
the
a
end-
but it's a really
no,
pretty theme.
it is good, but it was just like there's really not a whole lot of other things.
No, yeah.
going on
Towards
audibly.
the end, I feel like they really started to milk that theme. And I'll be honest, like, just because I love the movie, but I can't. It's not gonna stop me from being like, yeah, okay, we just heard this theme like a minute ago.
I don't want to
only
defend
so
this
many
movie
themes,
anymore, but
like,
that's like a
emotions.
lot of movies do that. Like, think about
totally.
Terminator. It's like, dun,
Some
dun, dun,
some
dun,
do
dun.
it better than others. There's a movie called A Very Long Engagement. It's the Audrey Tautou film that they did right after Amelie. She has a wooden leg, and she's like waiting for her husband to come back from war, whatever. They have like a really epic score. They have an epic theme in the movie, but they use it way too much. Like it's like you said, they only had one song.
Yeah.
And it's by the second hour, you're like, I get it. This is like sad. I fucking get
Yeah.
it. You know.
This movie is 2 hours long.
It is 2 hours.
By the way.
But
And it was just like-
did you know that this is the cut? There's a director's cut.
Oh, great.
And it's an hour longer.
Let me
What?
get right on that, JJ.
Yeah. Now let me explain to you. There's huge differences in it. Okay, so in this movie, like old Toto comes back and he buries Alfredo,
Right.
and he sees the old footage of of that girl he loved and whatever, and he gets sad about it, and then he ends up leaving. Okay, in the director's cut, it's a whole nother fucking movie. Like, he comes back, and then he's like hanging around the town, and he sees the girl from that he fell in love with, but she's the exact same age, and he's still old.
What?
And so he follows her around.
What?
No, listen. He follows her around, and he follows her back to her house, and then he realizes that it's his love's daughter.
That seems logical.
That's still creepy.
Well, it's just the same.
Yeah.
It's the same actress playing her. Sometimes,
Nope.
sometimes people look like their parents. Okay.
Not that much.
Not that much. Dude.
Well, they changed her up a little bit, but it's definitely the same actress. So he finds the woman that he fell in love with, and now she's married to, I think, the kind of dumb guy from his school. Like, she stayed in
the
town.
one
with
that
the
he
thing on his-
punched.
Yeah. The guy that he punched in the film.
yeah.
So she ends up marrying him, and then the whole thing is he tells her because there's a whole scene that gets cut out from the cut that we watched, where she comes back. Like, he's about to take off on the train or whatever, and he's waiting for her to come, and she never comes. But there's a thing that happens is that she does actually come to the projection booth, and Alfredo's there, and she has a message for him, and she's there to tell him that she loves him, and Alfredo doesn't tell him, and he knows because he's afraid that if he tells Toto that this woman came, he'll stay in this town and waste his life. So Alfredo doesn't tell Toto, and he ends up leaving town.
So there's basically a whole Romeo and Juliet thing going on.
Yeah,
in
pretty
the
much.
Everybody's
director's
a
cut.
dick in this movie.
But at the very end, in the director's cut, old Toto actually bangs his old chick, but she's married and she's old, and they're both old, but they do it in this car parked outside, and then
Classy.
and then so he wants to get back with her, and she's like, no, this was just a dream. This didn't happen. This was just for old time's sake, and then he goes back and watches the film reel.
Wow.
But-
Wait, so they did it in the chicken car?
Not in the chicken car.
Oh, damn.
Anyway, so yeah, there's a whole nother movie, and I like this cut better than director's cut because I feel like it's more to the point and it's more about the film. I hate that the cover is the two lovers kissing. I feel like the cover should be Alfredo and the kid at the projection booth.
I know. I was really thrown off by that because in the Netflix, that's what it is. It's the,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, it makes sense because of the montage in the end, and I get it. But I felt like the whole meat of the story was Alfredo and Toto, and I
Yeah.
thought that was really adorable.
And I last thing I'm gonna say about it is I love it when Alfredo he takes him out to the beach and he has that breakdown and he's telling him his stories about the military life and all these funny things that happen. He's like, I don't want to hear you talk anymore. I don't want to hear you talk anymore, Toto. I want to hear other people talk about you. And I was like, that's fucking amazing.
That was good, yeah.
So there's a lot of and then because the whole time he's always quoting famous film stars.
Right.
And he's like, oh, that's such good. He's like, oh, I didn't say that. John Wayne said that, or Clark Gable said that, and then he says that really, really big thing at the end about knowing who your people are, and it takes years.
Mm-hmm.
And Toto's like, who said that? John Wayne, Clark Gable? He's like, no, Toto, it was me. That was all me. And it's fucking awesome. That movie's great. I still think if you haven't seen it, you should definitely go check it out. And if you did watch it, tweet us screenplay. Let us know what you thought. And also, if you're a sponsor on the RT website, I myself, anyone else is invited to jump in. We're going to be at roosterteeth.com/chat/screenplay. We're going to be talking about today's episode and the movie. So if you're a sponsor, feel free to jump in the chat room and tell us what you thought about today's episode and what you thought about the movie. And then also you can go check out roosterteeth.com/screenplay picks to see all the movies and TV shows all the employees of Rooster Teeth are watching this week and what they think you should go watch.
Well, speaking of, Jesse Lee at Newport is Living says, in the words of Toto, up yours. There you go. There's your tweet.
Thanks. Thank you, Jesse. Newport is Living. That was very sweet of you. So next week, I decided we went train spotting last week, and then we've done some pretty heavy movies. And then this week was kind of an older foreign film that with subtitles. So I was like, let's go completely in a different opposite direction. So next week, we're watching a little indie movie that you may have heard of. It's called Face Off. It's got Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. And it's on this website that has flicks on the net. You should check it out. I will not say their name until they pay us, but it's
Jesus.
but it's on there for you to check out. I suggest everyone go because if you've never seen that movie, it's a fucking cool movie.
Yeah,
it's John Woo's first American movie. Do you not like it, Ellis?
It's a great movie. It's just so weird. Face off. Face off.
It means two different things because they're facing off, but their faces come off.
Oh my god!
It says what it is.
Revolutionary movie.
My god.
But yeah, so we're going to be here next week with a whole nother group of folks talking about Face Off. So you have a week, internet, to go watch that awesome movie, and we will be chatting about it. So we always end every episode with a question. So I'm going to ask you guys, here's the question of the week. What is your favorite black and white movie?
What was the movie with Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy? That was a great black and white movie.
Which one? Oh, I see what you did. You're talking about Trading Spaces,
Yes.
and you're literally saying because there's a black and a white actor.
See, I made a joke.
Hashtag, I see what you did there.
That was a good one.
Look at Joey.
Well, I'm glad I got you. Thanks, buddy.
He said that was a good one, but not in a sarcastic
The
way.
rest of the internet's fucking just killing me right now, but him.
All right, so I'm gonna go with you, Ellis, and then me, and then I'll end with you, Jenny. What do you?
I don't watch a whole lot of black and white movies just because for some reason the aesthetic bothers me. But I think Pi would have to be the one.
The Darren Aronofsky film before Requiem for a Dream.
Yep, I liked it. It is very reminiscent of Requiem for a Dream, but in a lot of ways, especially with the pills.
I won't give any spoilers away, but that electric drill scene, intense.
It was a movie.
There you go.
I got a headache.
Yeah, just from watching that. I was like, I still watch it because I was like in a movie they didn't have that much money, and I'm like, I still don't know how you did that. Anyway, for me, it's got to be a half and half. I love Clerks because it's such a good. It's such a dialogue-driven movie. Not a lot happens. The camera doesn't move at all. There's not a lot going on, but the dialogue is so good. But my favorite go-to, I have this movie on my backdrop on my computers. I have huge posters of it in my house. Dr. Strangelove. Fucking love Dr. Strangelove. It's got Peter Sellers, it's Stanley Kubrick making fun of nuclear war. And yeah, it's so good. If you ever get a chance to check it out, watch it and just realize that, yes, you're supposed to be laughing. Because they play it real straight, but it's such a good movie. Mandrake, and you were supposed to be feeding me, Mandrake, and I was there, and you were feeding me. Oh, it's so good. Jenny?
I'm kind of down the middle, too. I like Bride of Frankenstein a lot. It's one of my favorite horror movies, but I also really like a movie called The Scarlet Empress, which is by Joseph von Sternberg, and it's about Catherine the Great. It's a little bit older. It's 1934, but there's like huge set pieces, and it doesn't feel like a 1934 movie. It's really kind of fast-paced. It's in the Criterion Collection, but yeah, I think that would be my favorite.
Nice. One more quote from Dr. Strangelove that I love. There's no fighting in here, men. It's the war room. Oh, you can't fight in here. It's the war room.
Good job.
It's so good. Thank you. I fucked up my own quote. I was just trying to give you a sampler.
Slampler. Good freaking job, man.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Before we go, Jenny, where can we find you on Is it gotchamovies.com?
Yeah, it's gotchamovies.com.
Go check out her film reviews. Thank you for coming to the show. It was a blast. We'll see you guys next week, and we hope to see you guys in the chat room here in a bit. Bye-bye.